Hi, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, then welcome very much. If you are not new here, then thanks for coming back. It's lovely to have you join me on these videos. One of the videos I wanted to do was the different AeroPress techniques that I use. So I've got three main ones, so three different AeroPress techniques that I use. Do with it what you will, but I will show you what I do. Feel free to do it too, or not, up to you. But this is where I go with my AeroPress and what I was doing since I first got it. Obviously I've learned different ways of doing it since I've got it, but for now this is what I've narrowed down to my three most used ones. So, got the AeroPress, got the cup, got scales, which in my last video I mentioned being very important. Now, just got to get the coffee, which I will grind freshly. So there's the coffee. The first technique I'm going to show you is the standard one that I use, which I believe is also the standard AeroPress one. Yeah, so the standard one is you get your chamber, you get the filter cap with paper filter in, pop it on your cup. I'm just going to turn these scales around so I can see them. There you go. AeroPress. Just zero it off. The AeroPress does come with like a little funnel thing for you to pour your coffee in. I don't like doing that because because it's a cheap grinder and it's got a hopper. You do sometimes get varying amounts of weights come out, so it's not as easy to just grind it, tip it in. It's much better to kind of like weigh it out properly. So I just use a spoon and get it into the right weight. So I normally go for 15 grams of coffee, give it a little shake to level it out. There we go. This one, the weight of the water isn't as key because this is just the AeroPress technique. I've got my freshly heated water over there. I watched a video with the guy that invented the AeroPress, so I kind of follow his technique a little bit more than I follow the written down one in AeroPress. But basically you don't put too much water in this because you get a really strong concentrated coffee essentially, which you then dilute, which is interesting. You don't normally dilute coffee, but it works quite well and you get some nice coffee out of it, so let's give it a go. I normally go up to about 1.5/2 on this scale here, just so you know. Yeah, let's go for it. There we go. Now they say to get this little paddle, which is designed very well, and just to move it back about 10 times. There you go, and right now, so that get it on the wood. And then you pop the plunger in, just gently press down. Slow and steady is the game really here. You don't want to push it too fast, otherwise you force the water through quicker and it doesn't extract as well. And you get some interesting flavours from the coffee. So just nice and slow. Seems to be the way to go. Right, so this is an important point for me to pause. because normally, but I say normally, there are a lot of people that stop at this point. So I pushed all the water through and it started like hissing, which is a famous attribute of the AeroPress, as I'm sure you're aware. But I read some things online which I found quite interesting, so I tried it out and I preferred it. If you keep pushing, you get a lot of the coffee oils and stuff come through, which it tends to give you a bit more body, a bit more bite, which I preferred. So I will normally carry on pushing until I've really squeezed out all of the liquid. So I'm going to keep going. There we go. Then you got your coffee in there, not a huge amount, but like I said before, you normally dilute it. This is where I'm going to get my scales out. It's just easier than getting a jug out. Pop that on there. So normally you add about 200 mils of hot water. And I like milk, so add some milk. Let's go, give it a stir. There you have it. Standard AeroPress technique. That's nice. Now I've got to see how to drink this one before I do the next one. There we go. One of the things I really like about the AeroPress, I do really like about the AeroPress, is that it's so easy to like take it apart, rinse that off, that's good to go. But then all you've got to do to clean this bit, oh I really hope this works, just push the plunger down, you get this delightful, what's called a puck of coffee that just comes off. Just put that in your bin. Why don't we put it in the compost bin and then just rinse off the AeroPress and just let it dry, and it's good to go again. It's a happy day, nice and easy. Right, so the next technique, if you're familiar with AeroPress and you've looked into it a little bit, is called the inverted technique. There are so many different methods of doing this. I exaggerate not. If you go onto the there's a World AeroPress Championship. If you go onto there on that website, it gives you all of the recipes for all of the champions and the runners-up. But this is the one that I've just found easiest to like crack on with, and had some really good results from it. Because you also use the inverted to get like very close to an espresso type kind of coffee. You can't get espresso from it, but you get very close to it. So this is normally what I'll do when I'm making myself like a latte or cappuccino, or insert other milk related coffee drink here basically. So let's go with that one. Pop the scales on. So the way that this is done is basically you put the plunger in the end and then you brew your coffee like this. So you have the scales. This gives you a few different options. I normally use this for an espresso, so because there's less water in it, you can push the plunger down further, about halfway. I get this recipe from a website called JavaPresse. If I remember, I'll link it below. I will link it below because I'm editing the video. So I get the recipe from a website called JavaPresse. I'll link it below. Go check it out, give it a go. Like I said, I normally use it for an espresso because I don't have an espresso machine. Sad times. Most people will put a paper filter in. Yeah, most people will rinse the paper filter with hot water. I don't. I've never noticed that much of a difference personally, but maybe that's just because I'm still quite new with coffee. So I just leave it in. We'll give it a go again one day, but for now, this is how I do it. So on the JavaPresse website, they recommend bringing the water to 195 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't use degrees Fahrenheit, so we're going with 91 degrees Celsius, which, according to my kettle, according to my kettle, is 195 degrees Fahrenheit. So we're going to put the coffee in here. We're going to go with 17 grams, which is slightly more, but obviously it's an espresso, so it's slightly stronger anyway. Same as before, I scoop it in because I think it's easier and better. There we go, 17 grams. Level it out a little bit, do a level playing field, zero that. Just wait for the water to boil. Not boil, but get hot. Okay, so I've got the water. So the recipe calls for about 55 grams of water to be put in. So you only do a little bit of water first. There we go. Then swirl it in a circular motion. A little bit of this just to make sure that all of the grounds get wet. So they're all being extracted. There we go. You can stir it if you like. The suggestion is that swirling it works better. Get the filter cap, pop it on, get a mug. Now they suggest like really pushing hard. I have found that to work best. There are other people that say that you shouldn't do it, and I know I did say it last time, but because you're letting it brew a little bit, in this one you're getting the flavour out of it. So let's go. Squeeze hard at the end to make sure you get all the liquid out. There you go. That is a shot of espresso. Not espresso, but as near as you're going to get to it. And then, obviously, normally I'd put milk in there, frothy milk, on the milk frother, which I will probably do because I don't want to waste the coffee now I've made it. So the next one is probably the technique I use most with the AeroPress now because it's quite quick, quite straightforward. I think it's the easiest for me personally when I'm, on a morning, I'm getting to work, I just want to get a coffee done quick. This is the technique I go for most, which I will do as soon as the milk froth is finished. So for this one I'm going to use a different cup because the other one's got my latte in it. So this one is lovely. I should just have left the paper filter down here. I'll talk a bit louder because I'm waiting for the kettle to get hot. Anyway, just put fresh water in it. So this one I'm going to put the AeroPress on the top. Now this one, the scales come into play a lot more because I don't use these numbers on the side. I don't use a scoop or anything. Interesting. Apparently this weighs 100 grams. So let's get coffee. The coffee I've been using today is the Little Fin I say Tanzanian Grace. I feel like it might be Tanzanian. But anyway, that's the one I'm using at the moment. I've been doing the water, apart from the last one where it asked for a specific temperature. I normally do it about 85 degrees with this coffee. From what I've done so far, it's worked the best. So for this one, I'm going to put in, it really varies depending on how I wake up, but between 12 and 15 grams of coffee. So I'm going for 12 today because I don't need it super strong because it's not early morning. Or is it? You don't know. All you know is that it is not gone 3 o'clock because it's still light outside. So we're going with 12 grams of coffee, and then once the kettle's heated up to 85 degrees Celsius, we'll carry on. Meanwhile, I'll drink my latte. Some good cup of latte. Okay, so what I'll then normally do is what's called a bloom. I'm sure I'll do a video about that one day, but we're not going to talk about it right now. But basically, it just helps the coffee out. So I'll normally put in about 30 grams of water. In this instance, and I give it a swirly. Make sure all the coffee grounds get nice and wet. And then I'll normally leave it for about 30 seconds-ish to let it bloom. If you're interested about blooming, then just have a Google blooming coffee. If you have a quick look, you can see it bubbling away. Which is why we bloom it. Right. This is where some people might not be too happy. There are different techniques to doing this. Some include creating a vacuum. I don't, but basically I pour in the rest of the water now for the full cup, so that all of the water goes through the coffee, and then I just pop the plunger on and gently plunge it. So I normally go up to about 200 grams of water. So that's 12 grams of coffee to 200 grams of water. I do normally try and pour it in a circular-ish motion to try and evenly distribute the water as it goes in. Obviously, as it gets higher up, you don't need to put as much water in. You don't need to do the circular motion as much. Yeah, so go for about 200. I'll then normally give a quick agitation with this magic paddle. It is a specifically designed paddle to use with the AeroPress. It's basically, it's long enough to get right to the bottom, but not so long that it rips the paper on the bottom. Very, very clever. And then basically, get the plunger. I take the cup off the scales because they're not happy with it, and then just gently plunge it. Don't push too hard. Nothing special, just gently plunging. This was my go-to coffee technique every morning until I got the V60, which I now use more often because it's quicker, easier, nicer, maybe. Now, again, we're getting to that point of hissing. A lot of people say at this point you should stop, which is fine. I would say give it a go. I've tried both different ways and I preferred it if you keep plunging through the hiss. I just think you get a nice flavour, personally, but maybe I'm still too new to know what I'm tasting. I'm going to take that off. There you have it. That is my normal morning coffee. And then normally I'd add a little bit of milk to it, just because I like milk. That would be it. You don't need to dilute it because it's already done that by filling up the chamber. That's it. So pop that over there. Pop that over there. These over there. So there you have it. Those are my 3 different AeroPress techniques that I use regularly. Comment below your different techniques, your different recipes. I'd be really interested to see if there are any that I've not heard of yet or not seen. I love giving these things a go and trying them out. Equally, I'd love for you to give my techniques a go, see if it works for you, see if you like it, try out some of the things I've said, and let me know how they go in the comments below. If you've liked this video, then please do like it, click the thumbs up, and if you want to see more, you want to learn more, then comment below, and also subscribe. And next to subscribe, there'll be a little bell. Bing, bing. If you click that, then you'll be notified every time I release a new video, which is always good to know. Good to know when people release new videos. Helps me out, helps the channel out, and it helps you out because you get to learn more about coffee, you get to learn more about what I cook, and you get to see more of my dad life, dad journey. Thanks for watching. See you again soon.